Say your favorite quirky people.
Yeah, we all quirky on this channel. For sure, for sure. I'm
Hello.
here with welcome back to the channel, everybody. RJ and Migoy, my
Hey, quirky
AA
family.
family folks. How are you guys doing today? It's been a minute.
Been a minute and two. So far, so good.
A minute
I'm
and
good. I'm
two.
good.
Minute and
What's
two.
everybody been up to? What you been up to, RJ? I ain't talked to you in a minute, and it's more than 2 minutes.
Just been on the grind, getting some things done, checking some things off the list. Looking forward to the future.
Okay. All right. That was very precise for the beginning of the podcast. So I'm gonna need you to make that a little longer, ma'am.
To longer.
Hmm.
Have you discovered anything else about your quirky nature that you like to share with the people?
No, there's nothing. You know what? I would say that more recently, I have been more well received, at least verbally, being told that I'm more well received from people. So I feel like I've always generally been well received, but now I've been having people actually tell me, like, oh, I like this about you, I like that about you. So that's something that's new.
Okay. And what you mean at work or just in general?
Yeah, it worked. I don't go nowhere else but work. But yeah, it worked.
Okay. All right. Any context you'd like to put that in? Customers or any particular incidents with people that I know or just a passenger that you're interacting with?
Passengers that I was helping, it was this older couple and they came up, they was a little flustered. They had all these things and all this paper and all this. They want to give me all the things. All the phones, all the paper. And I was like, okay. I just was letting them go through all this stuff. And I was like, okay, and I need your ID. And so as I was going through the process of all these things, they just telling me all these things they want that they need and want to double check. I'm just like, okay. Not really giving them any extra feedback besides the okay, because I could tell anything more that I said was going to add to them talking more and them stressing more. So I just gave them less in a way to calm them down.
Mhm.
And then there was like, the wife was like, I don't know how you're so cheery in the morning. And I was like, cheery? I said, oh, yeah.
And you just said, okay.
Yeah, because she shocked me. I said cheery, and so she started laughing. She was like, "Well, I don't know if you're faking it," or I was like, "Well, I probably wouldn't say cheery. I would say alert." And she was like, yeah, alert. That might be. And so I just found that funny that I guess my attentiveness to the things that they needed and already kind of being ahead of what they already needed.
Mhm.
That she was like, "Oh, you're the word that she chose to use," and I was like, "I wouldn't say chipper. That's never a word I would typically use to."
Yeah, McGoy, she's not chipper.
No
Say
let's,
chipper.
chipper.
let's see. Yeah.
Like, I'm not a Debbie Downer, but chipper isn't a word that comes to mind. I wouldn't frame myself as a chipper person per se. And so when she said chipper, it just really threw me off, and I was like, "Oh, really?" I said, "Okay, well, I'll take it. I'll take it." So that
Mhm.
was funny that, now people are actually like, oh, you are X, Y, and Z, and thank you for being X, Y, and Z more often nowadays. So that's a little update.
Okay, cool. All right, Mr. McGoy, how you been doing? You been working on your business outside of work? What's going on with you?
Well, a lot has been going on for the past couple of weeks for me in particular. Work hasn't been so bad in terms of, the out of the norm,
Mm,
just taking it one day at a time as usual and defining the odds once they come. But outside of that, personally, I would say I'm doing well mentally. A lot has been on my mind for the past couple of weeks. Managing self, because I'm trying to work on self, especially leading up to the end of this year. There are certain things that I'm trying to come to acceptance with in terms of understanding self more, looking at how is it that I can improve self, because every day is trying to be a better version of yourself, basically. So
okay.
I'm looking at
Hmm.
what currently exists, what I currently have.
Mm,
I'm looking at areas of myself that I haven't been looking at ever since I've known myself, basically.
mm.
So starting to wake up to these realities and looking how best I can shape them or mold it into what I think it should be in terms of my betterment. So that's what I've been working on currently, actually on a fast as well.
Oh, you on a fast too? Okay, what's your fast? Tell me about your fast. What fast are you on?
So initially, I wanted to be. I was looking at more for fruits with vegetables, outside of the meat.
Mm,
But now I've been led to, make it more of a liquid fast, and it's going to
mm,
be more like juice based, or organic, natural fruit juice, green juice as well, so, the juice the plant. So I'm going to look at more of a 14-day juice, just strictly juice, no meat,
Mm.
no hard substance, anything like that.
mm. Have you already
But
started?
well, today I've started, yes, I started about 4 days ago,
Mm,
but I was actually having, it wasn't just strictly juice. I was incorporating, the fruit itself, like eating the fruit itself, and
mm,
still had nuts like, cashew nuts, and, still eating vegetables, but now I wanted to make it juice, just strictly juice, in a
mm.
liquid form. So that's what I'm
Okay.
going to be. So today is the first. I just got a few pineapples and some, I guess you call it paganati or something like that.
Pomegranates.
And yeah, I got some of that. I got
She
some
called
ginger.
it.
What you call it? He said
That's a new fruit.
pomegranate.
Right, so I got some of them and some big ones too. So I'm gonna get the juicer. I don't know part of my juicer. I don't know where it is, but I gotta get that juice. But I did some beetroot juice. So
Mm,
I have some beetroot juice with ginger and carrots and a little honey
okay.
to sweeten it. So that's already made. And yeah, I
Yeah, I
want
got
it to
two
be.
pomegranates too. I need to juice those. Peel them and
Mm,
seed those. And I got two big beets I got from Whole
okay,
Foods last time I went down there. Yeah.
okay,
I love
So
okay,
did you?
beets.
You
yeah.
got some mushrooms? Did you eat? I'm trying to get Migoy into eating
Uh-huh.
some mushrooms. He went and he sent me a picture of some. Would you get oyster mushrooms? What'd you end up
Mm-hmm.
doing with them?
So what I did with that, I made some bean soup and I put the mushrooms in it as well with some sweet potato, and I pureed everything out. So I actually use it to make soup too.
Okay. Now, did you do
Hmm.
anything with that pumpkin that Jackie gave us at work?
Nah, I never do anything with it. I did make pumpkin soup after that though. I made pumpkin soup after
And
that.
I must have missed that because I asked somebody to get me some pumpkin soup, but he didn't bring me. He didn't bring me any. So
Yeah, we
yeah.
still we still gonna work on that though. We still gonna work on that. So
Uh huh.
basically, that's it in a nutshell. Because I using this more like to rebuild my structure in terms of. Because when you look at it, you look at it as your body as a vessel, as a instrument. So I'm trying to use it as a purge in terms of to detox all those old way or patterns of eating and
Hmm.
start fresh. So this is my way of starting fresh, try to
Okay.
clear
Sounds
my
good.
thoughts and so forth.
Now, are you do you plan on? Because I know there's some teas that are also good for restarting burdock root and ashwagandha, and I have some actually from. I got some ashwagandha. It's not really well. I've had it for a while. But I can still use it to steep a tea. But there's some herbs. Are you incorporating herbs when you finish with your juicing?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I don't rule it out because that's something I always look at too. In terms of herbs, I use the ones that I could find. Natural herbs, the ones that are in the tea bag formats. I use those,
Mm-hmm.
and then I create my own. Basically, like I don't know if you ever heard about like avocado, the seed itself.
Yeah, I saw a video yesterday of this person like
Hmm.
grating it into
What?
some tea with
Powder.
some ginger. Yeah, I
No,
never
no,
heard
no,
that before. I
no.
was like,
Oh, y'all, I just had an avocado. It was a huge seed. I tossed it right on out. But I have another one. So what
No,
should I be doing with this seed?
take
I'm.
go ahead,
Mhm.
McGoy, tell it.
I mean, first and foremost, you're going to do your own research to find out what's the
Absolutely.
uses and the benefits of it. So you don't rule that out. And then if you're looking at the procedure now, you wanna make sure it's dry. Obviously, we don't have sunshine outside anymore, so you could use the oven. At a small. Put it in there for a few days and allow it to dry out,
Well,
and
she
then you
got
can
that
grate it.
California sunshine. It's
Oh, you
still
still have it? Okay. Well, if
yeah.
you got
No,
that, you can put it on the outside.
the sun is out today, but it has been cold
Hmm.
and gloomy here. So now when you say put it in the oven,
Hmm.
am I baking it in the oven?
No, You
No,
just leave it
I'm
in
just
there to
letting it
dry.
just okay. Let it dry itself out. Just give
Get
it time to
dry. I
sit.
mean, if you have a
Yeah.
little heat, like if you have a not no heat, but you just want it to dry out. So at least when
Okay,
you
I follow.
get the grater, you get it in a powder format,
Okay.
and then you can use it to you pretty much make your tea. So you can use a teaspoon in your tea and drink it like that, sweeten it with honey, and it does a lot. But I'll recommend you to do your own research on it and then
Mm-hmm.
see
Yeah,
if it's something that'll work
that
for
popped up in
you.
my feed yesterday on YouTube. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, "What
Mm-hmm.
avocado? I had never heard of it." But that, yeah, they
Right.
person grated it
Mm-hmm.
with some ginger and
Mm-hmm.
lemon juice. I was like, okay. Actually, I think I might have saved it, so I'll send it to you. Yeah.
Especially in this
Okay.
winter season where our immune system sometimes become compromised. It's good for the immune system, especially for that. And your mental too. So
Mm.
yeah, you can look into it. So I'm glad you mentioned the those roots. So yeah, I don't rule it out at all.
Mm-hmm. Hey, did you go to? Have you been in the Goodwater store in Gardena, Argent?
No, I
No,
haven't
I
been
have
in
not,
there.
and I need to go so I can
Oh,
finally try
huh?
me some sea
Yeah, this
moss
is in LA.
because I know they
Hmm.
sell like the flavored sea moss there.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, get with or actually ask Elisa because I know she goes there a lot. I think I don't know
Yeah,
if she lives close to Gardena or not, but
she the one who told me about it. That's how I know about it. I just got to make my way to go grab some because I think she knows the woman who sell. I don't know if multiple people sell their sea moss, their flavored sea moss there, but she
I think
specifically
she's the
told me
only one.
about a
Yeah, it's a
woman
friend
who
of hers.
sells
It's
it
a friend of
from
her
there.
daughter's or something like that.
Yeah,
It's somebody in the family or a friend of a family. But yeah, when she told me that, I went straight over there, and they've actually grown. They're doing a whole lot more. So I like that little store. It's a black owned. I think a
Hmm.
father and son store together
hmm.
right
That's
there downtown Gardena. It's hard now. Be prepared to find a place to park because it's
listen.
well.
Difficult to find.
I was going in. Well, it's relative because I was in my van at the time. But if you have a car, but it's Gardena, so you're gonna have to find a place to park. I don't know if there's ready parking right in front of the building, but
Okay,
yeah, but it's a cool place. Yeah,
go check them out.
Hmm.
yeah, you should. I would say yeah, and I'll send you Cash App so you can send me me some. Cause I've been telling Migoy about it, and
Hmm.
next time I come, yeah, I'm gonna have to grab some. It's a
Mm.
good mix,
Hmm.
and like I try to keep telling him, you cannot taste the sea moss. You don't taste
True.
it at
Hmm.
all, which is good unless you like that taste.
Mm.
You know what? I have some Irish sea moss, whatever I got from Ross or whatever in the pack. And I
Hmm.
will say when I add it to my smoothies, it tastes like the ocean. So it's a little salty, add a little salty taste to it, but it ain't too bad. I know not to put a lot in it because the first time I used it, I put in a whole scoop. Ooh, I learned
Hmm.
Deadly.
it only took one time to do that.
Oh
Mm.
yeah, yeah.
Don't need a lot.
Okay,
Or at
I
least
want
I
to go
feel like
back to what you were saying, McGoy, about
Mm-hmm.
thinking about yourself and noticing some things that you've known about yourself your whole life. Did you want to? I'm curious. What did you mean by that, or would you
I
like to
mean, how I
explain?
look at it, I think most people relate to it like spiritual awakening.
Hmm.
And I analyze spiritual awakening as you, because when you say spiritual awakening, it's really you finding your real self, your true self, basically. And then in finding that is looking at some people call it the gray or the shady areas, those. I
Oh,
think on our last
your dark
discussion we
the
spoke.
night of the
Right, we had
soul.
spoke something about egos and things like that. But
Mm.
different areas of your life that it's more like we
Or your
me
shadow
needing to
self. You mean?
evolve, yeah, to
Yeah.
evolve from those things. First and foremost, identifying them, because if you don't know they exist, then it's just like a program machine just going every day without knowing. So I guess for the past couple of weeks, it's more like it's becoming a little bit more vivid, where you can see it more. Whilst I knew it was there all along, but not addressing it.
Now,
But
what you knew
now,
what was there all along?
in terms of as I said, the ego side of me. So like, let us say, like a little stubborn side here and
Not
there.
you, not
Not
McGoy.
here and there, and other other personal side of it as well. But outside of that, I would say yeah, and to tie in the knot, it's more like recognizing, what's the person's true purpose, true calling, mission, what it is that you're actually putting your energy towards every day.
Mm.
And that's something I've been looking into. We do put a lot of time and energy in our work, and that's important because that's what puts food on the table sometimes, that's what feeds the family. But outside of that, how is it that we're investing in ourselves in terms of personal development and spiritual growth and advancement? Because as we know, as we've, some of us coming to find out, we are still spiritual beings, just as we said, experiencing it in a physical world in terms of a human form. So I would say, yeah, those are the things that I've been, digging deeper into, finding out more in terms of how is it that I evolve, how is it that we grow, because we're all here to grow and evolve and expand, and it is a journey, life is a journey, and every day the more we find out, and it's good to question things, learning out is good to, just don't leave things like as it doesn't exist. So it's good to really question, and the more you question, especially when you're questioning self, when you're trying to find out more about selves, you're going in your meditative state, whatever that is for, individuals. People have different means of ways of going within and connecting with self, whatever format or procedure they use. So the more you dig deep and the more you find out, you realize that the scope in terms of what we think we know is very small, extremely small. And then on the journey, you have to be, what came to me the other day was being more like humble. The more you're able to humble yourself, as I know some people would read the scriptures too in terms of humble yourself as a child. The more you're humble, it allows you to learn because you don't see yourself as being, sometimes when we think of ourselves as too high or too up there, some people may call it, we may miss the bigger picture. But when you're humble, it allows for you to see it for what it is, and then you're able to address it even better.
Do
If
you
you
see
see where I'm coming
yourself as
from.
not humble? I think you're
I
very
mean,
humble.
as when I talk about the awakening for me personally, it's more so looking at, yes, there's humble side of me, but it's more so looking at purpose, walking in alignment to what it is that really expresses me for who I am, basically, because that's what I've been, zooming in on from the other, for the past couple of weeks. So yes, humble is one, but outside of that, what is it that really express me, and how is it that I'm channeling my thoughts, my energy, and my everything basically into that. Yeah.
So, how do you want to show up differently in the new year that you don't feel you're showing up now? And however that manifests, I mean, whether it be through business or just on a personal level with your friends or
Mhm.
business or whatever. How does that look different to you?
Well, for the new year, basically, I look at it from first, as I said, I try to change, my lifestyle, starting from how I even feed my system. That's the first thing, the food that I eat. Because initially, I mean, not that I usually eat without conscious, because my biggest thing would have been like the sugar content. I never usually eat like the junk food, like the fried food, and I'll focus on snacks, but I try to, have healthy snacks like the cashews and the almonds and nuts and fruits or whatever it is. But now I'm going to make it not just something you do when you feel like, but make sure it now becomes a everyday lifestyle practice. It now becomes what I consume. So what is not seen as food? So when I say not seen as food, we eat a lot of things, but it's not everything that we really should consume. We just do it because we like it, the flavor and the feeling we get when we eat it. But now I'm trying to see food as food, and I say that is what we put in should be organic as best as we can get it, because it's a little bit hard to get these things nowadays. But what we put in should be organic, it should be natural, it should be from the earth itself. And I think that will help to restore our system, based on all those backed up, clogged energy from all these junk things that we've been eating, because it's like, as we call it, junk. They say whatever you put in, that's how your body will respond to it. Whilst we are young now, most of us, obviously, our system is able to take the beating from all this, stress that we're putting on it with the food. But obviously, there's going to come a time when the system is not able to withstand all of this, all of this junk food. So the sooner we can start to put these practices into play. I mean, it's not going to be easy. For one, we got to think about the costs, to try and eat healthy. But
Yeah,
two,
but
we have to
eating healthy
Mhm.
is not really as expensive as people that go out and buy all that processed food and spend most of their time in the middle of the store. I
I
can go and
mean,
buy, even in
hmm
LA, I would buy produce
hmm
and my bill wasn't really high when you think about it. I mean, it's relative, but I'd rather spend it in the store than spend it at the doctor.
I mean, you're right.
You
You're
know what I'm
right.
saying?
But it depends on how you want to eat too, because
Mm-hmm.
I just pick up, for example, a few fruits the other day, and it was over $100 already, and that's just fruits. No
Mm-hmm.
vegetables yet. I'm not talking about ground provisions in terms of the yam, the sweet potatoes. So it can be a little bit costly depending on the variety that you're trying to put on your table.
I
Yeah.
would
But
agree.
if you're trying to keep it moderate and simple, then by all means. But if you're looking at it from a holistic standpoint, where you're trying to feed your body the right nutrients in the right
Mm-hmm.
portions, can be a little bit on the costly side. And cost is relative depending
Yeah, I
on
was about to
people's
say,
income.
yeah. Yeah, it
But
is.
on average, I try to average it off. If we
Yeah.
start to hit over $100 for the average people,
Mm-hmm.
income, it's touching on a little bit as it relates to costly. But yeah, I would say, yeah, that's basically for the new year, starting to, change up my diet, and then discipline, and trying to incorporate in some self-discipline, because obviously if we're not disciplined, we're not getting anywhere. So you have to
Mm-hmm.
first have that sense of self-discipline, and then with self-discipline, the determination and the consistency, and then see where it gets from there. And then, so those are my main things. As I said, working on self, changing up those diets, and then of course putting purpose first, what it is that I want to achieve, because I see myself more in the sense of I always want to get connected with helping people, within whatever shape, way, or form. And I guess that's why customer service always find me. Sometimes we think, we end up in certain positions based by chance, but if we take a step back and really analyze and look, sometimes it's basically who we are tracking, the
Mm-hmm.
different jobs that we find ourselves in, the different people that we find ourselves, as friends. And then because we are really radiating, as they said, whatever frequency or energy that we're putting it out there, that's obviously what we're seeing coming back in our account. And then sometimes if we're not really cognizant of that, we can either we can lose it, or we can basically abuse it, what it is that we learn.
Yeah, sure. Well, I can attest to that. We had a conversation, RJ, going out. We're talking probably about an hour before
Mm-hmm.
the podcast. And when I hung up, and Migoy, I hadn't had actually a chance to tell you this, of
Mm-hmm.
course, because I told you I had to get out the phone because I was going to twist my hair, but then I was like, no, I wanted to configure this thing out.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to say,
Mm-hmm.
you pushing me and even taking the time to tell me your intentions for your idea for business, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, that really touched me, that you thought or think that highly of me, that you want to help me in that way. So when you were giving me your, because at first I was really like,
Mm-hmm.
what in the world are you talking about? Because I felt
Mm-hmm.
like you were still trying to, like, no, Ray, you need to do
Mm-hmm.
this course. No, Ray, you really need to push that course. No, Ray, you really need to
Mm-hmm.
push that course. And I was like, but McGoy, no, I'm moving in another direction. I'm
Mm-hmm.
focusing over here. And when you took the time
Mm-hmm.
calmly, as you do, to explain it to me, and I'm like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
I just appreciate you thinking about me and wanting to help me
Mm-hmm.
in getting this, whatever this is, off the ground
Mm-hmm.
in every way that I possibly can. Yeah, that's why if I can use the expletive, that's why I fuck with you.
I mean, everything has a start. Basically, we are at the. This is the foundation. This is this a few, maybe we want to say months, maybe we want to say years ago, this was only a thought for some of us. Maybe yourself, you always thought of, doing your own podcast, putting your own contents out there. Maybe you would have been doing it, but not necessarily at the scale or the magnitude or whatever you want to really put it at. So right now we are at the foundation of this, and the more thought we give to it, the more energy we give to it, the more of us that we put into it, because it's obviously us.
Yeah.
The more of us that we put into it, the more we'll see it start to transition and evolve into exactly what it's supposed to be. And at the same time, not limiting ourselves, because sometimes we can't find ourselves in a box and believe that based on how we perceive it to happen, it may not happen in that way. It may happen in a totally different way, supersede what we were even thinking about. But
Yeah.
it's just for us to continue to nurture it with the little energies that we're giving it now, and it's your dream, it's your vision, it's your passion, and I guess nothing can stop it but you. If you had laid back and like some people and say whatever, you wouldn't have been here now. So we have to, we just have to be grateful for where we currently are.
Yeah.
And then be mindful of where is it that we want to go at the same time.
Yeah, well, but I still say I'm grateful for you, and even taking what I want to do with this channel, and even giving me another something to think about, because I was not that I had on blinders, but you can get to a point where you just so focused that this little tweak over here or somebody making a suggestion is something that you hadn't thought about, but once it's suggested, it's like, oh well, damn, that could work.
Right.
And that's what it was, because initially, as I said, it was kind of like, how many times did I say, wait a minute, say that again?
Right.
I need you to explain that like I'm a 5-year-old, and you did, and it was like, okay, I get that. Okay, now, and even in that, it made me think about how can I share this with somebody else who I know is also on this entrepreneurial journey in LA, and the fact that this is somebody who I met. Shanice is somebody who I met when I first came to LA. And she lives in Orange County, and she popped up on my messenger or whatever, and well, I don't say even popped up, it was meant to be that she did, but I mean, it had been years since I talked to her, and we caught up. She told me some stuff that was going on with her life, and she's always been a hustler. She's been a floral arrangement. She learned floral arrangement when we were working together in Orange County before I started working for AA, and moved out of Orange County to LA County. And so yeah, it was just when you told me that and told me your concept, I immediately, of course, thought about RJ, and we hadn't had a chance yet for y'all to have a conversation and for her to see if she's interested in participating. But yeah, it just, the ball just was like, okay, who can I help, or who can I put on,
Connect.
and help them as well. So yeah, next year for me is definitely about eliminating that energy that is not for me. People energy, social media energy, just things that would take me off my focus, if you will, and just focus on having people around me that I can pour into, and who can pour into me, and we can motivate each other, encourage one another, hold each other accountable. And so yeah, that definitely resonated with me. I'm glad we had the conversation that we had earlier today. Yeah, so and not to tell RJ's business, I'll let her tell her own, but what do you see yourself doing in the new year that's different than how you started and got to this point of this year, RJ?
Kind of echoing what the two of you all have said. For the most part, I'm definitely going to be putting my energy and pouring into the things that's going to serve me positively. So all of my dreams and all the things I want to do, I'm just going to go after it. I'm going to be focused, and that's just where I'm going to really put my energy into. Whatever training I need, whatever courses I need, whoever I need to talk to, whatever networking needs to happen. I'm just really going to focus on doing that and try to stay positive through the ups and the downs of learning new things. But I'm really excited for the future. I'm excited to see what next year is going to look like, because I already know I don't want to say my end goal, because I feel like it's always moving to a certain extent, but I am excited to see how far I would have come this time next year, because I know all of the things that I want to do, and I'm just really excited. So yeah.
That's what's up. Well, once I'm working on a couch, guys. So once I get a couch in here, so nobody's sitting on the floor, we got to
Mm.
do this in person. And since two of us are already here,
I'm
I'm
an odd person out. That's fine.
you
I
the
can get
odd person out. I'm gonna need you to get on the flight, come to BNA, and definitely
there.
by then I should have something for you to ride back over here in, other than a Lyft or Uber. But
Ooh,
I'm not that far from the airport, so it's probably about a
okay.
$20 Lyft
That's
ride for you to get
convenient.
over here.
Yeah, I can do
Yeah,
that. I
yeah.
would love that.
Yeah, so I know you got somewhere to be, Mr. McGoy, and you got some plan this evening. What do you guys
Who that
have
me?
planned for the end of the year? Since this is going to be our last podcast for this season, this is episode number 9. I'm going to round it out with episode 10 that is focused on Kwanzaa and the meanings of Kwanzaa and how that would relate to an HSP or an empath. So that's going to be my last episode for season 1, and then we're going to start again. I don't want to say the first week in January. I want to give myself a break to reflect and plan and do some stuff myself. But yeah, sometime in January, February, I won't put myself on a time schedule, but I definitely want to start season 2 and get back in and keep the momentum of this podcast because I think it's needed. What do you guys think? I think it's something that some people who out here who are just discovering themselves can maybe take a look at those 9, 10 podcasts between now and February and get something out of it. What do you guys think?
I think so. Yeah, I think that'll be good. They'll have time to binge, if you will, because I'm personally a binger. I like to see things already somewhat to completion or a good amount of number and like to just take it all in at once. So, yeah, I think that'll be good for them.
Yeah, I echo the same sentiments because the content that we put out, just sharing, we never know how impactful that's going to be on somebody's life. Sometimes we think it's just basic or we think nothing of it, but it can be an eye opener for somebody listening. How is it that they connect with what it is that we're sharing? Like minds. So yeah, just the consistency. That's what's most important, and just showing up and being ourselves, and the rest of the universe will just take care of it, basically.
Now, I would like to take what you
Yeah.
just said, McGoy, because
Huh?
I was like, I like to take like the last 2 things you said about like being yourself and just go ahead and record and just go ahead and doing it and putting it out there and let whoever
Mm-hmm.
is meant for find it. I've been
Mm-hmm.
so every morning I have my routine of things that I listen to for inspiration, and I just
Mm-hmm.
have it planned, right? Because your subconscious is always going, it's always taking in
Mm-hmm.
information. So if I'm gonna be brushing my teeth and getting ready, I might as well listen to something that's positive, that's gonna feed
Mm-hmm.
me. And so I'm listening to all
Mm-hmm.
these things, and I say this random person because usually I listen to a certain page and I usually just filter kind of through their different videos that they have. But the algorithm offered me someone new to listen to. And this particular person
Mm-hmm.
was talking about procrastination and how now now they kind of like frame procrastination to being like 3 different things, and so they start breaking these things down. But they were talking about how they always would procrastinate on filming themselves because they were afraid of what people would say. They was afraid of this, they was afraid of that. But they was like, you know what, I just needed to show up and be who I was. And it's so important that,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, consistency and just showing up and being who you are. It was, and then another person who I have listened to a few times but not as often, she was also talking about the fear of people wanting to be seen. Like, people want to be seen, but then what's the reason why you don't want to be seen? Because you say
Mm-hmm.
on one hand you do, but on the other hand you don't. And so what is causing that fear, or what's driving that fear of a person saying that they don't want to be seen, but secretly they do? She was like, everyone wants to be seen. Everyone wants to be understood and heard and appreciated. And so she was just like breaking those things down, and I just was like, man, I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
planning on listening to these particular people these different days, but I'm gonna listen to them because they
Mm-hmm.
talking to me and they real loud. I need them to stop being so loud.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's
it was
interesting
really good.
what your phone will bring to you, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's for
Yeah.
sure. If you needed to hear it, I need that one. I need to listen to that one myself.
And it made me think about when
Yeah.
I'm doing my recording how, like, sometimes I'm like extra fidgety, and I'm like, and it bothers me because I would like to get better at not necessarily public speaking, but just being able to speak and get my thoughts out without perhaps stumbling over my words sometimes, and then maybe getting nervous. I'm scratching my head and messing with things, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh all
Hmm.
these but that is me, and I think that's kind of relatable. However, I would like to dial it back a little bit. Although I know people who's watching it, I'm sure there are some people who can relate to it.
Yeah.
But for me personally, it would be growth for me to not do those things as much, or if I can alleviate them altogether. So it's just, show up as you are, but like you said, you always want to grow. However you see yourself growing, and always working
Mm.
towards
Hmm.
being the best you that you want to be.
Well, I'm here
Yep.
if you want an audience because I'm trying to find a Toastmasters that I can get to. I think there's one here in Nashville, not too far away. I think it's closer to where you live, Migoy, in Antioch.
Hmm.
I think it's up there. Yeah, I definitely want to do that too because I hate saying and
I can
as I'm
you
just
to
saying
death, okay? I can you to death.
it. Yeah, that's a definite thing that I
Hmm.
want to change. Catch
Yes.
myself, especially if you hear it, because I've watched a lot of people and how they've mastered it is either really good editing, because I can do it when I'm doing the editing on the audio. I can cut the ums out, but when I watch people, if you watch like people who've done it for a while, look at Oprah. I don't think she says that often. If you watch newscasters, well, they're looking from a teleprompter, but people who are speaking impromptu,
Mm.
how they train themselves to not say it. It's like, wow, yes, that's definitely practice. So anytime you want to come on here and be like, yo, I need y'all to jump into my riverside because I want y'all to critique me. I want to talk for about 5 minutes because that's what Toastmasters is going to do. I mean, they have the online where you can meet online and do your spiel for whatever your speech is, and then the people in the room are your people. They critique you the same way. So I'm here for it. I need some help myself. I'm Migoy. I don't know if you aspire to be a podcaster or a public speaker, but if you do, like I said, come on in here and we can encourage each other and hopefully maybe build a community of some other people who want to jump in here and have our own online quirky Toastmaster. We can
Yeah.
call it. We can call it that.
I mean, it sounds good. I'm all for it. I mean, it sounds good. As they usually say, as people usually say, a lot of the times what we put in out there is really not for us. It's really for other people, to their benefits, and how you help to uplift them, how you help to bring them in. So in sharing our stories and sharing, what we'd have been through, basically it helps other people. So I'm all for it. Not
Yeah.
necessarily a public speaker, but I'll say just be, as I said, just being ourselves, just sharing our stories, talking about, what is it that because we as humans, what we go through, most times people go through the same thing. It's just in a different way. you know so sometimes when we share our experiences and talk about them, people are able to relate because it may not be the exact same thing, but it's in some way, shape, or form they're still able to connect and relate to what it is that we're discussing. And once people are able to connect, then obviously you get their attention, and once you get their attention, there the conversation can continue because they're now open for discussion,
Mhm.
basically.
Being open for discussion is a very big thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely, which
Hmm.
has brought us here today. So I'm glad you guys have had agreed to grace me with your presence, and
Thank you
we're
for
hitting
having
on. Yeah, absolutely, anytime. You guys, I said y'all my quirky duo,
Mm,
so
right.
I'm glad I moved here and met McGoy. He's definitely my people here. So
Mm,
yeah. All right. We got 45 minutes into this thing. I don't want to hold you guys because RJ, I know it's earlier where you are. It's 4 here, 2:20 there. You got some
mm,
stuff you trying to do.
me. Yeah.
I hear you.
Check off the
Yeah,
list. Yeah.
I got you.
mm-hmm,
We're going to stay in touch and figure out something for January and
mm-hmm.
do it all over again.
We do it all over again.
And again and again and again.
Mm-hmm,
It's the end of the year, so I want to say thank you and I want to say Merry Christmas, but Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays, whatever it is
mm-hmm.
that you celebrate. May you all be blessed. May your families be safe and well. And until next year.
Peace.
Yep. I wish you the same.
Same
All
to
the
you.
best, and it was a pleasure.
I'm glad you guys made a connection and don't let me
Hmm.
be always in the middle so you guys have your information for sure.
Definitely.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, guys. Thank you for rocking with us. Like and subscribe to the channel.
Amen.
Amen.
Later.
Amen. And amen
Okay.
again.